Hey, hey, welcome to Kickin' It with J.Lane't. On this podcast, I sit down with amazing artists of all industries and fields, and we talk about who they are, where they're going, and how they want to inspire the next generation in their field. On this episode, I talked to Mr. Santino Padilla, aka DonJuanDeSparko, an amazing music producer from Los Angeles, California. This man is behind some of the best music that you may have heard, and some you will discover through this show and through discovering his music. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy as you get to know your new favorite producer, Mr. DonJuanDeSparko. Mr. DonJuanDeSparko in the building. What's up, man? What's up?
What's happening?
How are you?
I am amazing. I cannot complain. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I want to welcome everyone to the very first episode of Kickin' It with J.Lane't. What's up, y'all? So thank you so much for tuning in. I got a very special guest on the show today. One of my good friends. We went from Sacramento, not knowing each other in Sacktown, to going to LA, meeting up there, and just developing a really good bond musically and a friendship. I need y'all to show your love for Mr. Santino, aka DonJuanDeSparko. What's up, my dude? What's up, man?
Hello. I'm picturing all the post-production, like cheers and everything going on.
All right, exactly. It's going down. Everybody's gonna be yelling and screaming.
All right.
So I am super excited.
I'm just waiting for the cheers to stop.
Right.
All right. Okay. I guess.
Man.
All right. Calm down.
Right.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
All right. I told you before I'm gonna do a good job, so I'm gonna not turn this into me just laughing for 30 minutes.
It's all good. If we laugh the full 30, it's cool. But yeah, say hello to the people. Let us know who you are. What do you do? I know who you are, but let the people know.
My name is Santino. I'm a human being. I exist on Earth, and while doing that, I make music. And I'm an audio engineer. So I also help other people make music that they want to make.
Yeah.
Among other things, but since what we're talking about is music related, that's kind of the extent of what I do. I'm an audio engineer. Not self-taught. I went to college and actually learned how to do it and get it done.
There we go.
And just my own personal interest in music and chain of events led me to get into like producing music also.
Okay.
Like in a sense of creating tracks, making beats, but also kind of in like the, I guess more, you could say traditional sense of producing. Like I have fun like actually helping with the creation of things and, doing what I can to guide people when they're making tracks just to come out with the best song they can. Hopefully, that's the goal.
Definitely. And you kind of led into my first question was, how did you get involved? What made you start, producing or doing the audio engineer? What prompted you to go into doing that?
In high school, my friends were rapping.
Okay.
I wasn't really rapping because I'm old. This is pre. This is pre Eminem.
Okay, true.
So like mid 90s, mid late 90s, kind of that era. And I was into rap, but I was a little hesitant to put both feet in the water and be like, yeah, I'm rapping, I got bars.
Okay.
Because the instant comeback then was like, look at this Vanilla Ice motherfucker. Like I could say the best rap in the world, and I knew that was a comeback. I had no street cred just because now mind you, these are all my internal feelings at the time, but I viewed it like that. But eventually my friends were just like, nah, fool, just fucking get over what you're into. Rap is all good. So I got into rapping, was rapping my friends. Over time, I wound up being the only one really kind of still into it.
Okay.
And the guy who was recording me and giving me beats was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Wow.
He's like,
What?
he's like, we're not like not nothing personal with me, just music in
Right.
general. He's like, this stuff don't make no money.
He was
He's
done.
like,
He
he's
was
like,
over it.
but what I'll do is if you can get a computer tower,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you the programs I got and you could record yourself.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I hit up one of my homeboys, got a
Mm.
computer tower for $10.
Wow. That
I
that
got a
was back in the day. Well, you could do stuff like that.
yeah, hit the home. You just had it sitting in
Right. Exactly.
yeah, it was a compact. It had a 60 gigabyte hard drive.
See,
Super old
you
school.
can't even.
And that but then that just started the path to me like, okay. And
Right.
yeah, because I didn't know how to do nothing. Like I had ideas, but no
Mhm.
guidance. So the
Right.
first beat I made, I was like, well, I know that there's some clean drums on this Boogie Down production song. I could loop that up.
Yeah.
I'd like this Barry White loop. I could loop that up, and I matched them up, and I was like, okay, I made a beat.
There you
Let me
go.
make another one.
Right.
And
Keep
it was like,
going.
okay, I got some beats. Let me rap on them.
Nice.
Let me try to mix this. This sounds like trash. But then it just came from like a DIY thing that eventually evolved into me uh, making the decision to like go to school and pursue it as an actual career.
See, that's what's up.
But there was a good, I want to say, I'd say from like '07 until 15
Mhm.
was just like a lot of DIY trial and error, coming up on
Okay.
equipment, build my own studio, recording people,
Mhm.
trying to mix stuff, make my own music.
Right.
You know, it's a journey, but that's how I started.
Okay, okay. So you mentioned that you went to college, which I give you kudos because there are a lot of people that, they have talent, they're DIY, they learn how to use, especially now, a lot of people are learning how to use everything from YouTube.
Yes.
Um, but I appreciate the fact that you actually went to school to learn the technique and to really enhance your craft. So for those that are maybe watching and want to go to school, actually learn it, in college or whatever, how long did it take you to finish out, that career path or the college education for it?
How long college take?
Yeah, how long did college take? Exactly.
Okay. I will answer it, but with the brief preface
Okay.
on the YouTube thing. Because there's also schools of thought, like some people are like, you don't got to go to school, you can learn it all on YouTube.
Right, right,
Good, but the drawback to learning things on YouTube is anybody can call themselves an expert.
right. Very true.
So what winds up happening is you get a lot of people that are desperate to learn things,
Mhm.
and they don't realize they're just getting caught up in a clickbait culture. Because it's like you'll see videos 5 secrets to vocal mixing. Like
Yeah.
there's no secrets.
Right.
You just have to understand how EQ works.
Right, right,
Like how to get your 808s to cut through the mix. It's like there's no secrets. Understand how frequencies work.
yeah.
Learn about psychoacoustics.
See,
But that's the thing. But that's the drawback to YouTube
yeah.
versus going to college where there's like they have to be like educated, vetted professors and things like that, and
Right.
people that actually know what they're talking about. There
That,
are some people on YouTube that have good tutorials.
mhm.
You know what I mean? And they're legit. But I mean, for every one, you probably got another 500,000 who are just trying to sell you their drum kits to make your
Exactly.
drum sound better.
Right.
But it took the program at Sacramento City College where I went.
Okay.
What's up, Bad News Panthers?
Represent.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I went, it was a 2-year program. It was
Okay.
commercial music production with an emphasis on audio engineering, which
Okay.
is basically just audio engineering.
Yeah.
But it was 2 years and it was a AA degree.
Nice. Nice. And I must say, before we move forward, that this man is very talented in his craft. If y'all have heard, the Javon EP that has Don Juan, Santino, DeSparko, the man, he is all over that. Okay. Yeah. Pound it.
It.
He produced every track on there except the very first one. He did all of those and did the
Which is smacking too. Shout out to the intro.
yes. Will, we're gonna have Will on here too.
Oh
So
yeah,
he did the intro, but my guy right here, Santino, he hooked it up with all the beats, all the engineering, just mastered it. You know what I'm saying? And so I do have to give you much credit. And besides that, he is my go-to. Oh, you're welcome. He is my go-to when I have questions about sound engineering. I have called this guy so many times and did Instagram. He'll go on Instagram video with me and walk me through how to do certain things as far as programming goes. So he is my go-to. So this man is very, very talented and very, he is an expert in his field. So I have to give you much props for that. And thank you.
and thank you for that, because I am at times humble to a detriment, but I am that good.
You are. High alone, okay? High alone hit a bar for me musically that I had not hit yet in my music career. And a large part of that was because of that beat. I mean, it was just everything. I remember when he sent it to me and I was like, and we'll tell the story behind that one because he told me why he created that beat. But for that song alone, I was just like, yeah, we got to create a whole project from just this one. That was the starting point. You know, I just felt it. But we'll get back to High later on. But yeah, we got to talk about it. We might have to have a whole nother episode just for that song.
Hey, I'm down to do a Javon deep dive.
You know, me too. I was actually thinking about like doing a behind the music type series. I think we should do that. I think we should do that because you could give your perspective on what you were doing behind, you know, actually making the beat, and then my side of it behind writing the lyrics. Okay, look, yes, we're gonna work on that. We go. Hey, let me go on through with these questions so that people know a little bit more about who you are. I'm excited. This is pretty cool. So we know that you went to school. You learned how to do this. You got involved in the field because you were a part of a rap group that kind of dismembered itself, but you wanted to keep going in that process, right? So tell us something interesting about you that maybe we don't know, besides the music, if you want to, or just tell us something, interesting about who you are as a person, or musically. It's up to you.
A skill of mine that would never come up that I feel is pretty random and not music related is I think I'm a pretty good cook.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and when I was younger, from like 97 to 2001, I got a job at a Japanese restaurant.
Okay.
I started out busing, I was waiting tables, and I got my boy a job as a cook.
Okay.
He was terrible.
Oh no!
Like to the point, like during the lunch rush, he'd go in the bathroom and roll a blunt and come out afterwards and be like, "Y'all can't tell me I can't go to the bathroom." It's just like,
no.
Anyway, so they fired the homie. I learned not to recommend people for jobs. But they were like, "Well, we need a cook, so now you're the cook." So,
oh wow.
And I didn't have any experience except like, making toast.
Right. Everybody know how to make toast.
Yes. A microwave pot pie, that was my level.
Right.
But it put me in a situation where I got to learn all these recipes and certain techniques and prepping stuff. And they had not specifically for me, but they had a guy from Japan come to the restaurant and cook with us for a minute. So yeah, I could hook up some food.
Okay then. So, we always ordered takeout when we were at the studio sessions. So now
So, I ain't got the proper setup. When I'm there, I'm picking up the music. Cooking up that fire.
I got you. I hear that. Well, that is something interesting. I just learned that. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. So what are some of the adversities that you had to overcome being in the music industry and just doing production and things like that? What are some things that you had to overcome personally?
I think it could be classified as an adversity, but I think it's a struggle that more just comes from not having a whole team of being signed and being part of the larger music industry. When I started out, the difficult thing for me was, okay, my mixes don't sound clean. Like it was the technical aspect of things. But I've come to a point where the creation of the music isn't hard for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a person, every now and then I'll have a writer's block or something like that. Just normal creative stuff, though, nothing too much. But the thing that's difficult is getting it to an audience. And when you're with technology, you have the ability to be independent, not rely on labels and all those extra kinds of things.
Right.
But what that winds up being is, like, you have to, in addition to being the artist, if you're not going to go to the recording studio, you got to be the engineer. If you're not going to pay to mix it, you got to take the time to learn how to mix it.
Exactly.
If you want a video, you need to have the budget to pay for it, or you better learn how to use a video editing software. You know what I mean? You need an online presence. You better find you a Planoly or something to get your Instagram game right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would think the only difficulty would be just the additional things necessary to get to a point in the music industry where you get a livable amount of income coming in.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of, you can go in any genre, you can find talented, independent, unknown artists. And the only difference between them and the people that are well known are the marketing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
believe me. Yes.
You'll have to forgive me, but I'm gonna use you as an example. You're an amazing singer. If you were out there with the Jill Scotts and the Erykah Badus of the world on tour, nobody bat an eyelash. You deserve to be there. You just haven't gone the route where a Universal or one of their subsidiary companies have signed you and put you out to the masses like that. So I think the only struggle would be is just dealing with the whole sorry, I got my phone going off. Just dealing with the other aspects of what it takes to kind of be successful in the music industry, mostly just the marketing, because the hard part now, I feel like, for everybody is getting it to the people.
Right.
Because again, with with all the extra technology and nowadays, the entry point is easier.
Right.
Figure in 1995, if you wanted to rap, you needed to pay a few thousand for an MPC or something, because you weren't going to make no beats on the computer.
Right.
You had to go to a real studio. Nobody's using Pro Tools like that back then. So you'd have to buy the 2-inch reels, which cost money. You know what I mean? But nowadays, like a MacBook comes with GarageBand, and GarageBand will make the drums for you.
Exactly.
So it's as easy as that. To say I'm making music now.
Right.
And that, that's good. Everybody should be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely become a lot easier for an artist, whether they're deemed as good or bad, to get into music. But
that's up to the individual.
You're right. It is. It's up to the individual. But what I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying about the marketing and making sure, if you're not going to spend the money on a team and all these things, you have to be that, and so it can get difficult at times, when you are your one person team. You're the one that you create the music, you write it, you do all the stuff, then you try to put into, making an online presence, because that's pretty much where everything is now. I do see a wave of vinyl coming back, though, so I'm excited about that. So I think if people decide to, stay in the industry and stuff, that's one way to start being different, a little bit, is getting on that wave, because I noticed that that's coming back in.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that too, or?
Yeah, and I would even put it in line with artist merch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just kind of is how it's something tangible fans can buy, and it's a bigger stream of income than like the music streaming.
Right, right. Because music streaming is not, I mean, we get excited when we see numbers popping up, but realistically, there's no money is not happening how we want it to. I mean, at least for me.
There's a reason why that Spotify wrap up doesn't include how much they paid out.
Right, right.
Like that is nothing to brag about.
It's
But
nothing to brag about.
I also don't have a specific solution, so I won't go too far into.
Right, right.
Like,
I mean,
it's just.
I think more for me, it's more exciting to know that hey, my music reached, somewhere that I probably won't go or haven't gone yet. And that's what I get excited about it for, not necessarily the finances yet. I'm proclaiming it will happen. But we do, like as independent artists, we have to find other ways to make money. And like you're saying, merch, and then like if you create
And again, that is, you point out the numbers like that, it's a benefit. Like,
yeah.
To go back to the analogy of like the past, like
Mhm.
I'm not saying that to point out, make a statement like the past is better. It's just a different way of doing things.
Oh yeah.
Like now, if I post something to Instagram and after about half the day, it's gotten 28 views, I'm not an influencer, so I'm not going to get no crazy stuff like that. But if 28 people were in the room looking at me, I'd be like, okay, there's a lot of people.
Exactly.
Like, it's kind of how you view it too, I guess.
Exactly.
Is what I'm saying.
It's all about perspective. Because if you're getting, like you said, if you get 28 people, if that was a room and you did a show for 28 people, that's still that's an audience. You know what I'm saying? That's an audience of people. That's considered an intimate concert. So it's all about perspective. And I think as indie artists, that's the mindset that we have to go in with, knowing that if we are 100% the team, everything, our mindset is different than somebody that was signed to a label that has a whole team behind them.
Yeah, because people will do the opposite too. They'll feel bad because they'll post link to the great void that is the internet and like be disappointed because they're not doing like Big Sean numbers. It's
right.
It doesn't. You can't compare yourself to that. It's not realistic because it's not the same thing.
I 100% agree. You told me one time, and I don't know if you remember, but we were talking about it, and I was kind of feeling, I didn't tell you this, but I was kind of feeling down about myself that I wasn't hitting numbers like I expected to. And you had said during our conversation, you was like, the main thing to remember is you're doing it. Like you already, you recorded the album, you're getting it engineered, you did it. Like you did what you set out to do, like you accomplished the goal. So whoever listens to it at this point, that it's a good thing because you did exactly what you set your goal to do. You know what I mean? And so that it hit me because I was like, he's right. Like everything that I wanted to do, I did it. And so whether I get 1 billion streams or 2, you made the music and it felt good when we were making it, And so
it came out real good. And see, that's kind of a byproduct of today too. It's so the cycle of music is so short term. You start to think like, oh man, it's been 3 months and only this many people listen to my music. But the thing about music is it doesn't have an expiration date
at all.
It's not like buying a cantaloupe. It's not going to go moldy in the fridge. Like I'm watching TV and AMC, they still throw Mad Men in the commercials when they're bragging about their shows that are out. That show ain't been on for 10 years. I was watching Mad Men when Netflix was mailing me DVDs.
Right.
But they're still pushing it out. My point being is the art doesn't expire. It doesn't get old. It just, as time goes, it's just more and more opportunity to get it to more people.
Yeah.
There's some groups on Spotify. I'm terrible. I'm super ADD and Spotify. I got like unlimited music, so I'm all over the place.
Listening to everything.
But I discovered an album I like from somebody I never heard of from 2016.
Yeah. See.
In 2021, and I'm bumping that now. So it's like, it's just it's a grind, I guess.
It is. And now I think we see that even more so, like with this whole TikTok app. We see so many of the songs that we grew up listening to, that have resurfaced through the younger generation. They're creating dance movements and all that based on songs that we listened to a while back that maybe wasn't hot, when we were younger, but somebody in this generation said, "Oh, I like that," and then it creates this whole new movement and resurfaces and brings the music back up and makes the artist more relevant. So I agree with you. Even with our legends that we listen to their music that could have been recorded way back in the day, and we still like, that's a bop. I don't care how old it is. It's still it's still good.
Yeah, even yesterday, I was listening to a playlist and that the remember Tom Club, the Genius of
Yes,
Love.
yes,
There's no beginning and there
right.
is no end. But
Hey.
I was like, you know what? I should probably just listen to this whole album real quick. There's got some more slaps on there. Because me too. I listen to music for enjoyment, but I'm always listening for like, if I could catch a drum
Right,
or
right.
something, like that. And yeah, sure enough.
Yeah. See?
And and for the longest time, I never even imagined Tom Club for anything other than Genius of Love. So decades later, they
Right.
still got songs hitting new
Exactly.
ears. You know
Listen.
what I mean? So it can never go. I was talking to Ken Get Right about that.
Hmm.
Remember him?
Yes, of course I do.
Because yeah, he's memorable. His most recent album, I did all the production on it,
Okay.
and I feel like it's really, really good. But since this came out, it kind of ain't really popped.
Hmm.
The end of the year came, so people get busy with stuff, ain't really get pushed that much.
Hmm.
We did the video, didn't really push the video that much. But I had to let them know, like it could be a slow burn, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it might take summer 2022 for people to
Exactly.
get on that one. But
Right.
it doesn't get old.
No.
Tell them that they're still selling Pepsi.
Listen.
Yeah,
Okay.
they
Listen.
keep pushing that stuff. We can keep pushing this EP we made 6 months ago.
I will never stop pushing my art. Like, I don't care, because I will meet somebody that there's so many people in the world that it'll never get old. You know what I mean? You can meet somebody tomorrow and they'll be like, "What do you do?" You know what? You got Spotify? You got YouTube? Let me let me see your phone real quick. Let me
Yeah,
pull that up for you.
I'm glad you asked.
So it's
Mhm.
always a way to market yourself or let people know, about your art. And I love what you said about, the art never expires. There's no expiration on, there's no expiration on that. I might use that as a quote, to help promote this, because that was good.
Yeah, like the Javon EP, it's not gonna get dusty.
No,
It's gonna
never,
be there.
never. The EP
Yeah.
is
Every time somebody hits play, it's gonna be do
dead.
do do do
Yes.
without fail.
Without
Unless the
fail.
servers fail or something.
Man, let me keep rolling with my question. Don't start.
Yes, yes.
All right. So you told us about who you are, college, all this good stuff. So what is next for you? Do you have anything coming this year, or do you have anything that you have planned? What's coming next for you?
You know, um, I'm staying in the wind with what comes next
Okay.
because I've had some solid ideas,
Mhm.
but they kind of shifted. Like when I first came to LA, I was trying to get like when you met me in the studio, that was my
Yeah.
goal. I wanted to engineer in a recording studio.
Right.
But over time and doing that and just seeing how the money trickles down, from the owner to people working there, and it could be 7 p.m. and then I get a call like, "Hey, you got a session at 10 p.m.," which means okay, so I need to leave in about an hour
Hour.
to get to the
Right.
studio early to make sure the other engineer didn't do nothing screwy and get ready for the
Right.
session. And then
Exactly.
by the
Exactly.
time I get home, so I got to a point where it's like I did all this schooling and work, and I'm just working for other people again.
Right. Right.
And that led me to kind of doing my own kind of freelance thing.
Mhm.
So I think what's going to wind up happening in the future is since I also kind of doing the releasing the music myself as an
Right.
artist, I think I want to do a recording studio kind of production house kind of thing.
Okay.
So it essentially functioned like a recording studio,
Hmm.
but I would just do it on like I'd like to do it more selectively, I guess.
Okay.
Not so much just
So would
take
it be more
whoever.
exclusive, like to certain people, or how would you do that?
Maybe I'd definitely start with artists that I have a relationship with.
Right.
Probably like try to, if anything, just build more off of word of mouth
Hmm.
than the general public. Because the studio I was working at, I had an issue with the payment. I won't go into detail on that, but I
Yeah.
think it also had to kind of do with the price point.
Yeah.
If people buy stuff, you either want, this isn't my original, by the way, but I heard that people either want the least expensive or the most expensive,
Yeah.
not the in between. And where I was at, they had like a Groupon for 2 hours of studio time for 40. So, you would sometimes the clientele would be wacky. Not that everything's
Right.
like perfect, but
Right.
there's the thing. If I could be in a position where I could choose what I want to do, who I want to do it with, and when I want to do it,
Exactly.
why not do it that way?
You're right.
You know what I mean? And maybe not even do it in a retail space.
Yeah.
Because I'm even looking at stuff. I've looked at like how people are, there's big backyards, but sometimes people don't need that. You can
You're
take a
right.
big old shed, run some electricity, make a nice studio there. And you got
Exactly.
your whole production thing on your property. You ain't even got to commute nowhere.
That's true.
So I think the future will hold something like that, something where
Okay.
I could have something that'll make a little bit of income,
Yeah.
but more importantly, provide me with the space to do what I want creatively and
Right.
also with other artists too.
Right.
Because I wouldn't do it like no secret club, nothing like that. Like
Right. Right.
just because
Right.
doing something like that in itself, there'd be initial overhead costs.
Right.
I'd want to, probably upgrade a couple things as far as what I have equipment wise.
Yeah.
So you'd have to recoup that and make some money off it. It'd be a money making business, but
Definitely.
not just anybody with $20 who wants to come in and
There you
yell
go.
on the microphone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There you go. Can you help me out here?
Yeah, yeah.
I got you. Well, that sounds cool. I mean, I will be there when this is up and running. I would hope
Oh
I'm
yeah,
part of
definitely.
that artist chain that knows about this good stuff.
Oh, you're ground floor.
Yes,
You're in there.
I'm there. I am there. All right. So I love that. I love that. So another question for you: what keeps you motivated? And I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what keeps you motivated even when you don't see the benefits of your craft? Does that make sense? Like what keeps you
Yes.
going?
I don't think it's even a question of motivation, just because just it so happens I'm one of those people that no matter what, I could listen to a song,
Mhm.
and if it's there, I can hear the 2 bar, 4 bar sampling,
Yeah.
and I get to thinking of ways of creating stuff. Or, if I'm listening to like what was I was just like listening to like West Side Gun and Tyler the Creator
Hmm.
on a song, but then that song just all of a sudden got me thinking of bars in my head. Like
Yeah.
it just happens. It happens
Yeah.
naturally. It doesn't always happen, but it's just something inside of me that'll happen.
Yeah.
Like like there'll be times I'll go to make a beat, but the beat's already done in my head.
Hmm.
So it's not like sometimes I sit down and try to come up with something out of the blue, but there's other
Hmm.
times where I'm like, no, this is where this
Right.
should be. This
This
is
is
how I
what
want
it is.
this. Like I know how loud the hi-hats and everything is, like it's
Right.
already done.
See.
But the motivation to keep doing it and keep that going, I guess there is motivation because it's the result. Like
Yeah.
when people are vibing to it. Like the
Mhm.
end result is just like the best thing that can happen is be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I can get the head nod or somebody be like, that's solid.
Yeah.
Like when you tell me, yeah, that song's my one.
Right.
Or the most recent show I did, one of the beats I was playing that's available on my album Hater Proof. Go stream that everywhere.
There you go. There you go.
While I
Shameless
was
plug.
while I was
Shameless plug.
performing it, he had to come up and give me a dog. This beat right here,
You see.
this
Yeah.
beat right here, and me just being like, yeah, like, the motivation is hitting people in the chest with it, I guess.
Hmm.
Because, there's, believe it or not, there's a lot of music that I make that nobody but me hears.
Right.
Just because there ain't a rapper on it yet, or I ain't put it out, or
Yeah.
maybe it'll never get put out.
Yes. I
You
mean,
know what I mean? And that's cool. I could just bump music and play it for myself, be like, damn.
right. I'm bad.
But there's no, yeah, but there's no real enjoyment in that. The enjoyment is like seeing the response, the reaction from people, and just kind of the validation that all that time and effort wasn't for nothing.
Right. Yeah. It's always nice to share your gift, and then have people connect with it. So that's definitely a motivation for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because creating too, you never know. And early in creating, you don't take into account that every single person has a completely different view on everything. You
Right.
just think, oh no, one person didn't like it, I'm
All
upset.
right.
And like really, that's not the case.
No. No.
It's people that love Spider-Man, people that hate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's still gonna go.
That's right. One thing I love about Santino is he be having like just the simplest logic, and it just be like, "You right, like you are so
I'm,
right."
I'm
'Cause
glad I could do that.
sometimes,
Hey, and all it is, I just got my own lens.
right?
It is. It's probably like,
I love
like
it because it brings me
you can go somewhere and you put the yellow lenses on, get the red lenses. It's just
right.
my lens.
It's your
That's all.
lens.
Yeah.
And I know for real though, because I know, like I've said before, I've been in a point where I'm in a tizzy. Like I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing it. And I will talk to this man and he will just say something that it means so much. And to him, he probably just like, I just said whatever. But to me, it was like, you are so right. Like, why am I tripping? Why?
Oh no, it's accidental gems.
Seriously,
If
I don't
anything.
know. You're saying it's accidental, but to me, it meant more than that. Like even I will go back to our very first meeting outside of the studio where we both connected at. We met in Central Market. Uh,
Yeah, downtown LA, Market
Y'all
Day. They
know
got
you
that food.
right. Yeah, we went and got
I
food
miss that
and
place.
stuff. Man, that was our first initial, like outside of, like I said, the studio we had met at. And that's where we created the idea for, making music together. And he was dropping gems then. And I was just like, okay. Like I'm have to work with this cat. And so we kept that going and then we just built from there. And like years later, here we are doing a podcast after creating music together. And I hope that we create more music, hint, hint, in the near future.
No, you know what? And I got a little bit better of a setup now too, so I can.
Okay. Well, I'll be there. Don't worry about that. I'm actually trying to plan a trip out there real soon. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna keep you posted on that. Yes, so we got work to do. But yes, he is definitely a motivation to me. So as we get ready to wrap up this interview, what advice would you give to a new person in this industry?
I think for the music industry, and really, I think it could be applied to all industries, is just I feel like just learn as much as you can about what you're into,
Mhm.
and even just the additional moving parts that need to go for what you're into.
Yeah.
Like music, like we were saying. If you want to make beats, figure out what program you're going to use. Like if you're going to use FL Studio, you're going to use Ableton, learn that thing inside and out.
Yeah.
You want to sell your beats, watch some tutorials on how to use BeatStars and get and market yourself and get your stuff out of there.
Yeah.
The not knowing, I feel like, is a big hindrance. So the opposite of that would be getting the knowledge, learning what you need to do to get to where you need to be and applying it.
Yeah.
And understanding that it's going to take work.
Yeah.
results don't happen. And then also to keep in mind, it's a marathon.
Hmm.
Yeah, rest in
Definitely.
peace to Nip.
Yeah.
But it's a marathon,
Yeah.
and the marathon they run in the circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a
Definitely.
sprint, and life isn't a straight line. You're gonna go up, you're gonna go down. You
Preach.
might go down a couple times before you go up, but it's just a matter of sticking with it. And if you're knowledgeable and meeting good people, that too,
Yeah.
who you know helps.
Definitely.
Because I mean, you know that too, being in LA, like you got to know people
You got
just
to.
to get on stages and things like that, and it helps. Not to say it's like
Definitely.
it's not on nepotism. You need to know people and have something to bring to the table as well.
Right.
But I mean, that's definitely a helping factor in things.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Networking is key.
But I would say just be knowledgeable about what you're into.
Okay.
Continue to seek knowledge because things evolve,
Yeah.
and just be a good person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think what not even so much what I think, just I listen to a lot of podcasts that are, you know, artists and people in the music industry, and oftentimes they'll cite that somebody being professional has a lot
Right.
to do with making it. Because
Yeah.
it's all good if you can sing your ass off, but
Mhm.
if you're supposed to be there at noon, you don't show up till 1, like what is that?
What is that?
we
Get
got
out
we
of
got
here.
things,
We
we
shut
got
everything
things to
down
do
already.
there. You know what I mean? Somebody paid for the studio time.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's like just be thorough with things. Like the
Yeah.
professionalism helps a lot. And again, not just music, but like in all areas of things.
Yeah.
And by professionalism, I don't mean conforming to some corporate culture and doing what the boss tells you.
Right.
I mean just being a solid individual.
Mhm.
If you say you're gonna have it done Friday, have it done Friday.
Yeah.
If you're gonna
Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
if you're supposed
Yeah.
to show up somewhere at 6, be there at 6. You don't gotta get there at 5:30. That's on you, but at
You're
least be there
right.
by 6. So that would be my advice.
That's great advice. That is
Yeah,
great
be
advice.
smart, be cool.
Yeah.
Everybody likes that person.
Definitely. Definitely. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and all that you have given us, all these nuggets you've given us, telling us who you are. Now tell us, where can we find your music? Do you have anything that's out you just released? I know you just released something recently, so tell the people about that as well.
Okay, well, you can find my music. It's in a box buried in the sand at the Long Beach Dog Beach.
You know what? Ain't nobody time.
It's
Nobody.
buried. No, 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 no. The internet. All the places, all the places. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. I said I wouldn't be silly,
I love it. I
but
love
I'm on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, uh, everywhere.
everywhere.
It'd be better if I couldn't even mention where I'm not at. It's just a list.
I
But
love
all the big ones, I got music on Spotify. Spotify, I manage the most
it. Okay.
because I don't have an iPhone, so I'm not on Apple Music. So if you go to my Spotify, in addition to all the releases I have, I also have additional playlists of not just music I put out myself, but songs that I've produced. So like your songs are on there,
Yay.
songs that I've made music for other people. You can get all that on Spotify. It's pre-made for you, so you don't even got to search around. You
Look,
just
I
go to
love
my
it.
profile on Spotify and it's right there. But
Yes.
there and on YouTube,
Mhm.
there's a there's two of me. There's like the default one that the distributor just put the music out.
Okay.
But I have my other DonJuanDeSparko channel where the icon is just like the same I have for all my profiles, just a little black and white one with me looking over here.
Okay. I'll
And
make
that one you
sure to
got some
find that picture so we have something to reference.
yes. I'm wearing something it's lit up a little different, but you can see it. But on that one I got like some the video that's on my website, that video's on there. I got a couple different videos things. I have a video of one of my live shows.
Okay.
So yeah, YouTube, all the usual places I'm out there. I would highly recommend checking out my website, specifically the shop, because I got a lot of cool DonJuanDeSparko merch there. I ain't really advertised it too heavy, but
Well, advertise it right here. Tell us.
yeah. You get the stuff. The merch has got my. You can't see it. It's just a sticker here, but like that DonJuanDeSparko bling logo.
I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I got that. It's on the hoodies, the shirts.
Why you didn't wear none of your merch on the show?
You know what? I had a thing kind of come up a little before doing this.
Oh, right.
And I was dealing with that. And then I realized, you know what? I only used Zoom one time and it was on my phone. So I decided to use Zoom.
Got you. Well, next time.
Yeah, and then it was a myriad of things.
Right, I got you. No problem. I'll make sure to order my stuff as well as promote it on when I put all of the video together, so let everyone know where they can purchase.
Yeah, DonJuanDeSparko.com.
Okay, got you. And that was actually a glimpse of the website when we first got started. So you guys make sure that you go to his website and get his merchandise. He also has links to his music and videos there as well. So we appreciate you. Yes, a lot of fun stuff. Thank you so much for coming and being my first guest on
No, thank you. Hey, I might have to start a podcast and call it Accidental Gems.
Right, listen, okay, because you give them to us. You do.
Yeah. Again, I think that just comes from being overly humble. I won't recognize the good things I'm doing. But it's a process. I'm super grown, but I'm growing as a person every day.
Yeah, we all are. And so some of us, we need to hear those things, and even when you think, they're accidental, they really mean something. I know, especially to me.
They say that the Lord's train is always on time.
Always. Hallelujah.
If I just have the inkling to put an inspirational quote on a story that you happen to see at a time when you need to, then that's something that's beyond me.
Praise him. Listen, now you preaching. Come on, preach your word.
Accidental preach.
Preach. Man, this is Mr. Santino, aka DonJuanDeSparko. Y'all make sure y'all go check him out. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Santino, for coming through. I love you, man. And
thank you for having me. This is a blast. Very enjoyable.
Of course. I enjoyed you. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Stay tuned. I'm going to show some of his music. Or play some of his music and then get to his website. So stay tuned. Bye. All right. Thanks so much for streaming this episode of Kickin' It with J.Lane't, where I sat down with DonJuanDeSparko. Don't forget to visit his website, www.DonJuanDeSparko.com. Make sure you come back next week to listen to my sit down with Miss Iris Bonnet.